In 2019, a 34-year-old software engineer from Rotterdam sat alone in his apartment and did something nobody had managed to do before. He found a pattern inside a random number generator, a flaw so small that no auditor had ever caught it. And over the next 11 months, he turned 800 euros into 290,000 euros. This is the story of Marcus Veen, and how one algorithm destroyed everything he built. Marcus wasn't a gambler. Not really. He was a back-end developer at a logistics company in Rotterdam. Quiet, methodical, the kind of man who read documentation for fun. He'd stumbled into online roulette almost by accident, a colleague's stag weekend in 2017. He lost 150 euros and barely noticed. But something else caught his attention that night. Not the wheel, the timing. The spins weren't quite random, not in any way a normal player would notice. But Marcus wasn't a normal player. He was a man who spent his days finding inefficiencies in code. He went home that night and started writing notes. For 8 months, Marcus did nothing but observe. He opened accounts across 14 different online casinos, never depositing more than 50 euros at a time. He wasn't playing. He was collecting data. What he found was subtle. One particular live dealer platform, he never named it publicly, used a RNG system with a seeding flaw. Under specific conditions, after a sequence of 7 spins meeting certain criteria, the algorithm became fractionally predictable. Not certain. Never certain. But enough. A 4% edge over the house, on a game where the house normally holds 2.7%. To most people, that number means nothing. To Marcus, it meant everything. He built a program, a simple script that ran in the background of his browser. It tracked sequences, flagged the conditions, and whispered in the corner of his screen. Now. Bet now. In January 2019, he made his first real move. 800 euros on the table. By March, he had 14,000 euros. Here's where most people would have stopped, taken the money, disappeared. Marcus did not stop. By June, he had 97,000 euros, spread across 6 different accounts, under different names. He was withdrawing carefully, never more than 4,000 euros at a time, never triggering the thresholds he knew the fraud teams watched for. He had read every AML policy document he could find. He was systematic. He was careful. He was also unraveling. The money had changed something in him. He quit his job in July, told his girlfriend he'd landed a freelance contract. He was spending 12 hours a day at his desk, running sessions across multiple accounts simultaneously. By September 2019, his total winnings had crossed 200,000 euros. And then the casino's algorithm noticed him back. It didn't start with police. It started with a frozen account. One Tuesday morning in October, Marcus tried to log in and found his session terminated. Funds suspended pending review. He'd seen this before with smaller accounts, usually resolved in days. He wasn't worried. But this account had 47,000 euros in it. What Marcus didn't know was that the platform's parent company, a Malta-based operator, had been quietly flagging his pattern for 6 weeks. Not because of the winning, because of the consistency. No human player wins with that kind of statistical regularity. The variance was wrong. The sequences were wrong. Everything pointed to automation. They brought in a third-party forensic team. Within 4 days, they had identified the script. Within 2 weeks, They had traced it across all 6 accounts. Within a month, they had his real name. On a Wednesday morning in November 2019, 2 investigators from the operator's fraud division arrived at his apartment, accompanied by Dutch police. Marcus was sitting at his desk, still running the script. The legal outcome was complicated. In the Netherlands, exploiting a software flaw in an online casino sits in a legal gray zone. Marcus hadn't hacked the casino. He hadn't accessed any system he wasn't authorized to use. He'd simply observed a pattern and bet on it. His lawyer argued it was no different from the Pelayo family in Spain, who spent years tracking biased roulette wheels in physical casinos, won millions, and were ultimately cleared by the courts because they used only their minds and observation. The casino saw it differently. They argued the script constituted automated interference with their platform, a breach of terms that crossed into fraud territory. The case was settled out of court. Marcus repaid 180,000 euros. The remaining 110,000 euros he kept. The accounts were permanently closed. His name flagged across the industry. He never gambled again. In a since-deleted Reddit post, written 6 months after the settlement, he wrote, and I'm paraphrasing here, that the worst part wasn't losing the money. It was realizing he'd spent a year of his life turning something that was supposed to be a game into something that felt like a prison. Marcus found a real edge, a genuine mathematical flaw in a system worth billions, and even he couldn't outrun it forever. The house doesn't just have the edge on the wheel, it has the edge on time. If you want to understand how online casinos actually work, the math, the systems, the things they don't put in the welcome email, that's what we dig into here. Every week. No incentive to lie to you. Link in the description to our Discord, where we share the real juice. See you in the next one.